What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm going to talk about The Howling. That's how it also always should be said. From 1981, this film was directed by Joe Dante, and this is part of spooky season. I got voices. I don't have much in terms of technical ability on here, but I can play around with my voice. I won't do it again. So The Howling, watched this with audio description. I watched this with dated audio description. As I mentioned to somebody after I watched The Howling for the first time with audio description. I tried to watch this once without audio description, thinking about maybe doing this for a spooky season review without audio description. Then I got the old stuff. Uh, some stuff just wouldn't be in today's audio description. I just thought it was funny when Dee Wallace is like main character, and there's just some, I don't know, extra or something that walks past her, and there's like a fat, and literally in the audio description there's a fat guy walks in front of her, and I was like, I feel like I haven't heard that in like audio description of the last 25 years. Just like a fat guy going up the stairs, a fat guy doing this. I was just like, I don't feel like that's a choice. But so The Howling, uh, which basically is just Dee Wallace. I mean, Slim Pickens is here, but John Carradine. Most of the cast I didn't really know or recognize other than those, but she plays a reporter who's just really having a bad day. Just like a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. And she's slowly slipping, losing her grip on sanity and reality. And things are just made worse when she goes to sort of rest and relax and ends up in a cult of werewolves. That's basically the movie. And the campy ending of it, the kind of turns things around. I know there are like multiple sequels to this, and I don't really know why. I mean, this is fine, but it doesn't really scream sequel to me. It doesn't scream like, oh my god, we need more Howling movies. I think there are like 7 of these, by the way, so it's not one of those things that you're like, oh, definitely. Because there isn't like, unlike some of the other horror movies where there's like an iconic character in them, there isn't that isn't here. Like, it's the concept of werewolves, so like you could just make more werewolf movies, and I think that's probably what they do with the sequels. But it doesn't have a Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees. It doesn't have a Pinhead. It doesn't have a Chucky. It doesn't have that enduring central character, Ghostface. I'm trying to think of other like long running franchises that we've had. Um, it doesn't have one of those icons of horror, Michael Myers, Leatherface. When you see these things, or even fuck, just the Amityville house. I know that's not a person, but I mean, it is a thing. I mean, that is when you think of Amityville, you don't think of a human, you think of a house. And you're like, ooh. So, yeah, it's just, they don't really create that in the first movie. So, um, this was cheesy. It was campy. It was whatever. It felt very 80s, felt very 1981 to me. But certainly, before I was born, uh, I could feel the Joe Dante in it, especially toward the end. Like, the more this movie goes on and it starts creeping into genre territory, because in the beginning it's not really about werewolves. I think she's tracking like a serial killer, and it focuses more on her like being like a normal person reporter, and just the shit that goes on in her life and the craziness of it. So there's very much like an act 1 act 2 here. um it feels more like a part 1 part 2 instead of like a 3-act structure type film. So once you get into the werewolves and the cultishness of it all, and then the film finishes, that's the more that I felt the Joe Dante of it all. I was like, well, yes, now I see But if you were to not finish the movie and just turn this off after 30 minutes, I don't think you'd get that. I don't think you'd feel like, well, that was that was Joe Dante. I don't think that anyway. So he has a podcast, by the way. It's pretty cool for people who like listening to auteurs talk about film, just in general about things that inspired them. So if you have a chance to check that out, I would recommend it. I've listened to it a couple times. I'm not gonna say I listen to any of these podcasts like on the regular. I don't have a ton of time in my life to listen to everything. There are a bunch of really interesting podcasts, and some of them are actually done by some interesting people that you wouldn't expect. But if you're a cinephile, listening to some of the people talk, not just people like me, who are other like critics and film enthusiasts, but like actual people in the industry, some of those people have podcasts. Um, I would love to hear like a Scorsese podcast and get into. Somebody needs to give him a podcast real quickly and just have him talk about film as much as humanly possible. But same thing with like Spielberg and some of those people. I'm off track. The Howling, it's not scary. Uh, it's just cheesy. It's cheesy, early 80s. It actually, it's not full camp, but it has a little bit of camp in it. It's a little campy. I wouldn't say that this is the most campy movie ever. It's kind of a B movie. Um, I don't know that it needs I mean, I'm looking back on it now, having, I'm coming at it late. I don't get to appreciate it in when I was an adult in 1981. And I remember when The Howling came out and it changed minds and hearts and reshaped. I don't know any of that or get any of that and remember what it was like. So everything is like after the fact, years after the fact, knowing that it did create a franchise, it did start a franchise. I kind of question why. Uh, Now that I've seen this in its totality, it didn't really even launch a star. There's like an introducing, and I don't even know who that was. You know how like when they do an introducing, and you're like, oh my god, this person's gonna be a star. It's their breakthrough role. Didn't know who it was. Did not get it. Didn't feel like that was a scream queen that went on to do other things. Maybe they did. Maybe they're in films that are lesser the lesser titles, but are still sort of like popular um, to like in a slasher genre that just didn't get like franchised together like April Fool's Day, right? So like there are films like that where people are very familiar with it, but there aren't like 12 April Fool's Day movies. So uh anyway, Silent Night, Deadly Night has a couple sequels. Maybe she was in those. I don't know. But it didn't move me enough to check on this because it's not really a fresh score, so I don't really feel like I'm getting all up in the Howling. My problem is with this is I think we've done better, and I think even before this we had done better with An American Werewolf in London. So The Howling was just sort of following that. It was like we did the transformation thing, and it won an Oscar. We got to do that, and that was Rick Baker, I think, right? I shouldn't be asking that in the middle of a review, but I'm pretty certain that's where that started. And The Howling is more of a byproduct of that, and more of a mainstreamness of it, more of a continuation of, well, we should make more werewolf movies now that we know how to do them, now that we know how to make the transformation. But it feels like I can see why people would like this. So I'm gonna end up reviewing I Know What You Did Last Summer, but there's a difference between Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. Even though I Know What You Did Last Summer feels like a byproduct of Scream, like it feels like, okay, so we had these kids teen slasher movie. It clearly made because of the success of Scream and the resurgence of teen slashers in the mid 90s. So I think The Howling is a byproduct of The American Werewolf in London and an interest in doing things centered on werewolves and having more werewolf movies. because horror movies were still big in and around the 80s, all throughout the 80s, late 70s into the 80s. So, uh, yeah, The Howling is, at the end of the day, I don't know that it needs to be a horror classic. I think we have more films that are horror classics, but it might be for you. So I'm not gonna say it's not. I just thought it was kind of cheesy and it never scared me. Like I was never like, oh, well, that was creepy. Oh, wow, that jump scare. It was all just a lot of like, I don't know. All right, she's not having a great day. Oh my God, this poor lady. I just kind of felt bad for her because her days, her the start of the movie for Dee Wallace just doesn't start off great, and then it just kind of gets progressively like she's being gaslit the whole movie, and then the ending for her is, well, she it turns into a werewolf and dies on live television, and we cut to commercial, and people are like, oh, they can do anything on TV these days. Thanks, Joe. So, yeah, The Howling is okay. I hesitate. I don't want to put it too low, so it's not like a low score. But the fact that it's not scary, I don't even think it was that gory. Maybe it is, like, when you actually see it, but I have a feeling it's a lot of stuff we've seen before, a lot of quick cuts and yeah. I'm gonna give The Howling a 5.6 out of 10. It's gonna fall just shy of a fresh for me. I think Joe Dante is cutting his teeth here, for lack of a better term, on a werewolf movie. But wanted to tackle what is considered to be a horror classic, and The Howling is now behind me. So I can check that one off my bucket list of blood. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.